Welcome back, dear viewers. And from Kuna News, you know, Kuna takes us all around the world with their news. But sometimes you need to go by yourself. Well, and if you are a person who is frequently traveling, exploring, searching of knowledge, not necessary to be staying for a long time in the same place, this interview is for you exactly. Well, it's for me as well. Our guest is someone engaged to traveling. So how about we meet one of the world's travelers here in Kuwait, a person who has visited many countries, and I follow on Instagram, and believe me, I get jealous each and every time he posts one of those places that he goes to. He has a knack of an eye to take the right and perfect shot and perfect moment. Well, dear viewers, with us, Mr. Faris Almussallam, professional traveler. Hello and good morning, Faris.
Good morning. Nice to see you again.
It's wonderful to meet you again and again, and wonderful to see the person who gives us all of those nice places on the social media.
Thank you so much. It's an honor. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you, Faris. I know that a lot of us really love to travel, and we can see it everywhere. Everyone is really posting it or saying it. And whenever the time comes of, let's say, the vacation for everyone, each family has those luggages and bags and travel somewhere.
Yes.
But I know it's not you.
No. I mean, I do travel with luggage. I mean, you have to be prepared for the place that you're going.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it's a cold place, then you'll have to be prepared a bit more. And it also depends on the place where you're going.
Okay.
So, for example, if you're going to a place which is rather more developed or easy, you can take a few more risks and, you know, leave a few things behind and purchase what you need over there. But there are certain countries where you really have to take everything that you need from the get-go, from your starting point over here.
Everything. So you have to plan before you go to any place, right?
Well, that's my biggest piece of advice to any traveler. Any project that you have to do, and for me, traveling is a project. You have to plan all of the details. Sometimes there are risks that are involved. Sometimes there are things that you have to, you know, you just have to be prepared for any sort of circumstance that you encounter.
Any emergencies that comes your way?
Any emergencies, it could be medical, it could be financial, it could be personal.
Okay.
So you really have to be ready for anything.
Well, Faris, a lot of us have their eyes or their goals on traveling for something or other. What motivates Faris for traveling?
Well, to me there are two forms of traveling. And one is what I call switching off, and one is switching on.
Yeah.
And they're both correct. One is not more important than the other. It just depends on what your motivations are. Obviously, switching off is when you just need a break and you just need to relax and escape. Switching on is when you want to explore the place that you want to go to, where you want to dive deeper, get to know the people, the culture, the food, the environment, their history. And to me, that's extremely enriching. They're both good for you, switching on and off, but you need to have a balance of both to be able to enjoy both.
Well, off the air, me and the camera lady, Ms. Radhiya, we were talking about that. We were saying that a mum sometimes needs to have a retirement plan. And I was asking her, I'm a mother, how can I retire from being a mother or from motherhood? And she said, switching off, go to some place alone.
Is extremely important for your mental health as well.
Yeah, so if someone is a mother, we want to go, just get that risk and go somewhere. And speaking about risks, Faris, I know there are so many risks in traveling, right?
There are risks in everything in life.
Okay.
I think if we focus solely on the risks in traveling, then we'll either never go anywhere or go to very few places. A lot of times the risks are extremely exaggerated.
Yeah.
And the probability of them happening is extremely low.
Okay.
And so we should not have that fear sort of cripple us, and enjoy life as much as possible. That doesn't mean to go without being prepared.
Yes.
I talked earlier about being prepared. You have to know what the risks are.
Yes.
Because even in places that we're familiar with, there are safe places, there are unsafe places. You know, there's certain ways that you have to dress, certain things you should take or shouldn't take.
Okay.
Be prepared in terms of money, like I said, in terms of medication as well. Have the important phone numbers, for example, of the embassy, emergency services, Those are all really important to have because you never know when you might need them.
Well, speaking about all of those risks, I know that in the past 10 years, you have been to so many places and you took around more than 5 trips. And we can see on the screen Grenada. And
Actually, no, this is Gardaya.
Gardaya, not Grenada.
No, this is Gardaya in Algeria.
Really?
Yes, this is in Algeria.
So talk to us about it.
Gardaya is a place towards the south from the capital, Algiers. It's one of the more traditional, one of the more conservative places of Algeria. They're a very insular community. They take care of themselves. Okay. So, for example, they have a hedge fund where they all participate in. They have a house in Medina, so they don't waste money. They have a house where they stay over there. Okay. Any leftover money is put back into the fund so that the next year more people can go. They're very known for their carpet weaving. This is actually on the way to a mosque, which is partly underground.
I can see that. It's like a cave, right?
It's like a cave, and it's done in a symbolic way to remind people that, you know, in the end we will all be buried, and to be humble.
Wow.
So even going into the mosque, you go underground.
Underground. And this is what you meant by switching
on. Exactly.
So you go into the community, you stay with them. Do you stay, how many days do you stay with them, Faris?
Well, when I say stay with them, we don't necessarily stay in their homes.
Yes.
We stay in hotels whenever we can, because this is a part of the business that I do, so I also have to test out the accommodations.
Yes.
But generally our trips, depending on the location, it can be anywhere from 7 to 14 days.
Nice.
We try not to make them too long, because for people who need to take a vacation, they probably can't take more than 2 weeks.
Yes.
So I try to be mindful of that.
And this is the escape plan from
this
7 to 14. This is the best time, the right timing and the right, let's say, and we have other places as well instead of Algeria. Where did you go as well?
Well, recently I just came back from a trip to Uzbekistan. So we got to see a lot of the historical places such as Khiva, Samarkand, Bukhara. And we got to learn how a lot of the Islamic scholars who we wrongfully attribute to being...
Is it here or this is somewhere else?
This is Armenia, actually, which is a trip that we took in October. These are actually all cave houses. So these are all houses which were built into...
Really?
Into caves, yes, yes. The community doesn't live there anymore. The only thing that's remaining is a church. But the community doesn't live
in the caves anymore.
Not anymore, no.
And this is a hanging bridge.
This is a hanging cave, yes. So this is part of the group that I took with me. That's our guide over there.
Okay.
And I was just
filming. Well, those are brave ladies with you.
They're very brave because the bridge does sway a little bit. But it was a lot of fun, actually. We all had a blast on that trip.
Wow, and this
is the Al-Hamra Palace in Grenada. This is Grenada.
This is Grenada.
This is Grenada, yes. And we were actually with an Arabic-speaking guide. He's Italian and who used to live in Damascus. Okay. And he can read all of the inscriptions and pieces of poetry inside. And he gives you a proper insight where, for example, this line of poetry speaks to the other one on the opposite sides of the room. So everything is done in a very deliberate way. And the only way you can appreciate these things is when you have a proper guide like that. And that's something that we always invest in.
So this is how you indulge into the culture of others. And I can see here you're...
That was, that we did a taiko drum class when we did a trip to Japan. Okay. So yeah, we try to be involved in the culture as much as possible, whether it's music, whether it's cooking, whether it's, you know, visiting people's homes, horse riding, depending on whatever culture, whatever they have to offer.
Is it really Japan is another, let's say, planet?
It really is. It really is. We have another trip next week to Japan, actually. Okay. And we're pretty much going to be following the same schedule as last time. So like calligraphy lessons, we're going to learn how to use the katana sword, the tea ceremony, a session with the maiko. Yeah. So a lot of our trips are, well, we try to make them as rich as possible because, you know, we have these people for 10 days. How can we, number one, ensure that they have fun? Yes. And number two, come away with an experience where they're learning, but we're not putting them in a classroom and giving them a lecture. So they're learning by doing something which is hands-on.
And this is the best way of teaching, I think. This is, if you want to teach someone something, you have to take them and put them in that place.
Exactly, exactly. And not just that, but it also helps the group bond together.
Yeah.
Because it's not about, you know, being the best at something. It's about learning it.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have fun, you joke around, you laugh, and that helps the group come together.
I think this is Islamic as well, and I think it's in Andalusia.
This is in Andalusia, yes. This is
Yeah.
in Seville. That's the Alcazar of Seville.
Yeah, I've noticed the Andalusian, because they have the special, also the bows upon their
Yes,
doors and all
yes,
of that.
yes, yes,
They
yes.
have, the architecture is marvelous down there.
It really is, yes.
So I know, Faris, I know that when you go to these trips at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't plan to make it like a living, right?
No. I started, I mean, what gave me my passion for travel is, well, I grew up in different countries, such as Morocco, Tunisia, Turkey, and the UK. And then around 2012 is when I really started traveling in this way, but I did it for myself.
Okay.
And then it expanded to traveling with my friends. And they would just rely on me to make the plans.
Okay.
They would just trust me to just do the plan.
You know how to do it.
Yeah. And then I met my current business partner. And I saw that there was quite a bit of synergy and a lot of similarities in how we travel. And so we decided to do a test trip to make sure that we can travel together without getting at each other's throats.
And this is, I really relate to,
That was
Faris.
really important to do. And then we saw that it was enjoyable. We had a lot of fun.
Okay.
And it began to generate some interest. And so we established the company, we started advertising, and we got quite a few trips. And then Corona happened, and
Yes.
so we had to take a break for a year and a half.
Indeed.
But alhamdulillah, we're back to doing our trips on a regular basis.
This is great. I want to ask you this question, Faris. I know that a lot of people would say they cannot travel by themselves. But you say no. Sometimes you need to take a break from others, right?
You do need to take a break from others, and traveling by yourself or doing anything by yourself, it requires being happy by yourself. It requires you creating your own entertainment. It requires you being okay with your own thoughts. It doesn't require sharing an experience with someone or talking to someone. It can be a bit difficult at first for someone who's not used to it. But I think it's the best source of mental recuperation, I think.
Yes.
If you can travel by yourself, then you really know how to enjoy yourself.
And this comes to another question. When you go and travel by yourselves, you discover how enjoyable it is, how marvelous that trip is. And then you're back again to traveling with company. How do you differentiate? How do you like stay, no, I don't want to go with anyone else. I'm happy by traveling with myself.
Well, they're both pleasurable in their own way. And they both have their advantages and disadvantages.
Yes.
And I look forward to both kinds of trips, actually. I think I have to. And it's lucky that I do. I mean, just like in life, you have to adjust yourself to any sort of situation. I can't have things the way I want all of the time. And the biggest thing that I enjoy from traveling with groups is getting to know the different kinds of people. And, you know, we all come together with the same sort of mentality, with the same sort of energy. And we all walk away as friends. You know, we stay in touch many years after the trips. And so that's a very, very big advantage and plus for us.
This is what we relate to. When we were young, we used to travel with groups, and whenever those groups are now together, we remember all of those days and what did we do. And this is, I think, is one of the keynotes and goals of traveling, is to have a good friend for life from
Yes.
that times.
Well, it can go the other way as well, as you know.
Exactly.
It can go the other way. But when it goes well, it goes extremely well because it's a bonding experience, because you're with each other for almost 24 hours a day for a week or 2 weeks. And it can either be super amazing or it can be the total opposite. But in our experience, if I'm honest, it's always been an amazing experience. We've never had anything significantly negative.
Well, I think this is why we always say if you want to know your friend, you have to
travel with them. Yes, exactly.
But that marvels that you are really having the good things and the best qualities of people with you. This is a very wonderful thing. So I know that next week you said you're going to Japan. What about the future plans?
For the future, so for January we have 2 research trips planned. So my business partner will be going to Lapland, so northern Norway.
Okay.
So he's going to be doing a lot of experiences with the reindeer and also hopefully seeing the aurora. I'll be doing something a little bit different. I'll be going to Nepal in January. And then for February we have 2 trips which are with groups. We have one to Vietnam and one to Algeria.
Okay.
So really looking forward to all of those.
Well, I would really recommend the Vietnam with Faris Almussallam, because I have been there. I have seen the Vietnam from north to south, and it's a marvelous place. But also what we saw glimpses of Algeria, that's another place to go. Thank you very much, Faris, for being here with us and giving us those glimpses. And don't stop putting those photos on the Instagram.
I won't. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It's a great pleasure. And, you know, you really should follow Faris Almussallam, the professional traveler, on Instagram. You would have a blast of a day just going through all of those photos and reels. And speaking about reels, you know, a school can usually provide help and sometimes uses specialities in case the child has special education needs. They may need extra help with schoolwork, reading, writing, number work, or understanding information. Sometimes they might need help with making friends or organizing themselves. But not this time, dear viewers. This time, the special needs students lead the orchestra. So how about we show you the play and exhibition at Desman Bilanguage School and see more about that orchestra with our colleague Abdulaziz Darwish in this report.